I call to order this meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees for Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. If everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before us, we have our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections by fellow board members or department heads at this time?
Parts 3 should read COVID competition update.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add speeding on Diamond, and I could actually do that right after the sheriff's report. I
Okay.
just got that today.
All right, we'll put that under the sheriff's report.
Mr. President, I have an administration number 2, Ellsworth Auto Body.
And that was under administrator.
Yeah, number 2.
I'm just gonna, under concerns of trustees, Stark County Township Association. Are there any other changes? The agenda will stand as amended. Let the record reflect, even though trustee Sabo is not sitting up here with us, he's actually with us remotely via TV here. He's taking the proactive measure of self-quarantine just because of some vacation travel. So, but we're glad to have you remotely with us, John.
4 more days, thank you.
First item up, the sheriff's report. Sergeant Koenig.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before you should have the August 2020 monthly report. Our calls for service were slightly down with 1,472 calls for service. Our crashes, we had 38 and 8 with injury. Our alarms, I've seen a steady decrease. Usually I can say we usually handle about 100 a month, but they've seemed to have been going down every month. And less business alarms and maybe less residential with the cards that we do. I've seen that number. It's gone down a little bit, but usually we're around 100. We're at 85 for the month. Our traffic enforcement, obviously down compared to last year. We still have 335 traffic stops for the month. We're starting to get back into the habit of our proactive traffic enforcement. We had 149 citations issued out of those traffic stops and made 52 arrests. We had 23 vacation checks, and Detective Ross had 17 assigned cases for August, with 5 of the listed closed reports. There should be a monthly, just a year-to-year look, and then a yearly from when we started doing this way back when in 2013. So, so the numbers are still high, especially with 2018. Anything prior, we really got a lot busier with our calls for service. So.
Well, there's a direct correlation with our body ramp up, being able to be more proactive versus reactive. So there's definitely, it's not necessarily that there's a major crime anomaly. It's the fact that resources and being able to.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, the 18, 19, and 20 with the yearly. I mean, they're still, the numbers are still significantly higher from what we had, pre-2018. So.
Anybody have any questions for the sheriff's office? I do want to just go on record. I mean, the point of, the work that Rocco does as the township detective and make sure we're excited that he was recognized as Deputy of the Year by the SO. And I know I text you guys so I can wish you directly, but I think our residents need to know that that's a Plain Township assigned resource for detective work. So it just speaks to, you all take great pride in what you do and help keep us safe, but an honor like that called out. Just want to make sure it's on the record.
And do you think we could get a copy of the picture or something for our fall newsletter's already going out? But I'd like to promote that in our winter newsletter, so if the sheriff could write a separate article and we could let our residents know. And then we have.
Okay, the next item, John, I'm going to turn it over to you, the speeding on Diamond.
Yeah, I just got this report today. So what they're seeing apparently is an increase in speeding between the hours of, say, like 4:30 to 7, Monday through Friday. Somewhere between Market going east to about maybe Del Corso, maybe a little farther east. They seem to think that it might be connected with soccer activities, that people are just kind of in a hurry to get to soccer. So if we could maybe just put a little extra patrol in that stretch maybe, and, because I think it's posted at 40, would that be correct, Sergeant Tony?
Yeah, it's all
Yes,
40.
it's all
That's what I thought.
Yeah, until east of Middle Branch, it goes down to 35. There's a little stretch, but yeah, Market's Middle Branch is all posted 40.
Yep, that's what I thought, that's what they said, and I was just going by what they said, so. But anyhow, maybe if we can just get a couple extra patrols there, maybe just send a message that, they need to slow it down through that area.
Yep, we'll put it on for extra patrol.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Good, all right, thanks.
Nothing on our unfinished business, new business. I'm going to turn that over to our administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to enter into the attached contract with Motorola Solutions WatchGuard for the in-car systems hardware and software for $110,997.87 year 1. And then for the next 5 years, $13,950, not to exceed $180,747.87, and to be taken from Fund 09A07.
I will so move on new business number 1.
I will second.
I'll second.
You got, Brooke got the second, just happened to be,
Okay.
just happened to be.
Sorry.
I'll probably a little slow.
Discussion, just let the record reflect, the sheriff was in just a little bit earlier talking through this. Essentially, this is part of a planned upgrade and replacement because the existing units are very dated. And then as well, that combined with some challenges with the prior provider. So this new equipment's targeted for sometime in October approximately, is what we heard. To the sheriff's office credit, taking into account the pricing we've piggybacked off of what the OSP had entered into, was able to, based upon the timing, and this was a little faster accelerated than we had originally planned, got some 0% financing set in place. The pricing on this is approximately about 30% savings. I believe that was even based upon original state term pricing, so this is coming in under state term, so for all intensive purposes, it's a real good deal. This will allow us to budget out over the next couple of years, because this year with where we're at being approximately $150,000 behind in tax collection based upon the county efforts, this strikes that nice little balance overall.
Yes, and we're counting on the replacement to allow us the replacement levy to complete years, the 1 through 5 years afterwards, those payments.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Okay, that'll conclude new business. Takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a request for resolution to authorize the payment of penny warrants in the amount of $188,150.33.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a request for a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a request for a resolution to authorize the payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the financial report for the month of August.
Anybody's got any questions, feel free to see Tom afterwards.
Fiscal Officer number 5 is a request for resolution to authorize the following transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 6 is a request for resolution to authorize the Plain Township Fiscal Officer to request an additional amended certificate of estimated resources from the Stark County Auditor for $479,063.14 and to appropriate these funds as follows.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
That concludes Fiscal Officer report.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. It's going to take us back to our administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to enter into contract with the Stark County Sheriff to continue to provide a school resource officer to the Plain local school districts for the 2021 school year in an amount not to exceed $71,245.85. And then be it further resolved that Plain local schools will reimburse half of the amount, not to exceed $35,622.92.
So moved.
So moved, Ms. Harless. I'll second. Discussion. Again, this has just been a long-standing, ongoing partnership, and from a fundamental aspect, it helps us from pulling guys off the street by having the school resource officer.
They do a phenomenal job. My son has told me how quick they are to react to any situation he's seen at the school. He's seen a couple of fights and they were separated in no time
I
at all.
mean, even the value within the township, I mean, Lieutenant Carver, Sergeant Koenig, I mean, how many instances of whether it's vandalism or mischief within a few minutes of a call to the SR, I've got a pretty good idea who that is based upon that description, and boom, so.
Yeah. And we get that officer then
In
all of the summer months. This year we made out with the school closing, in March, to have him even longer in, so it works for both of us.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you, and I added number 2 this evening because we received it late this afternoon, and this is a resolution by the Plain Township Trustees to authorize payment to Ellsworth Auto Body to repair a police interceptor in the amount not to exceed $2,071.48.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, this was an accident that was not our police officer's fault. Nationwide Insurance, on behalf of the driver, took full responsibility. I want to thank Lieutenant Carver because then he made all the connections, all the calls. We already have that check from Nationwide in hand. He brought it to me today. So all we're doing is making the payment. It's already reimbursed in our fund. But thank you, because we didn't have to involve PERSA. They accepted responsibility. We got exactly what we needed, and it really cut out the middleman, so thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's the end of the administrator report.
Okay. It's going to turn us over to the fire department. Chief Schallenberg.
All right, thank you. Item number 1 is our monthly report.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Anybody's got any additional questions? Feel free to see Chuck after.
All right, thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize for payment to Stryker Medical for a maintenance contract for 1 power cot and 4 power load systems not to exceed $6,101.50.
I will so
I will
move.
move on FD number 2.
Motion by Mr. Sabo, I'll second. Discussion from you.
Oh, I'm,
You're good.
yeah,
You're done as far as
good.
what
He spoke with me about it
All
today.
right. No further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution to offer employment, for part-time employment to Tyler Booth, Kit Rothmiller, Seth Shire, Gabrielle Mahaney, Joshua Short, and Zachary Shire, because they've completed their medical examination and background checks, and to be hired as of September 9th at $700.
I will so move.
I will second.
Discussion again. Chief, this is again to backfill our part-time bench strength based upon a combination of promotion for folks that have been brought up in and or folks that have left. And so
Yeah, kind of refilling the numbers that we have, and most of these gentlemen are either, they all are EMTs, and then some of them are actually in paramedic school already, so hopefully for future hiring, we'll have a pool of people to be able to hire from.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution to reimburse Joel Gladys for education tuition for $553.80.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 5 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize a uniform allowance blanket not to exceed $22,500 for purchases to various vendors, to be taken from Fund 28A06 and 10A09.
So moved.
second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 6 is a recognition award for our Mission Lifeline Gold Plus status, and this is from American Heart Association. And it actually really goes out to, all the, well, first of all, all the residents giving us the tools to make it possible, heart monitors and equipment, and then obviously to the guys that can make the times for the achievements. You have to have a certain criteria for response times, time to the ER, reporting strokes and heart attacks, providing the right medical care, pre-hospital. So all those factors go in, they kind of come up with different levels like gold, there's like a bronze award or whatever. We've stayed in that gold status for a couple of years now, so proud of the guys that, obviously they're achieving those benchmarks on every call, and it's a nice, kind of program that they kind of can see how those times reflect on calls annually. So that's just to let you know that we got that.
they did phenomenal work.
Okay.
And item number 7 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to purchase 2 LifePak AEDs, 1 Lucas chest compressor, and 3 LifePak 15 heart monitors to be taken from Fund 14A04B, an amount not to exceed $102,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And item 8 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the payment for 1 UV lantern disinfectant system from Color Disease Solution for not to exceed $4,200.
so moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
item number 9 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to promote Andrew Skolmich and Ethan Lowry from part-time status to full-time status pending a satisfactory completion of the Ohio Police and Fire Medical Physical and the wages and benefits to be set according to the collective bargaining agreement.
So moved.
I will move on FD number 9.
Move Mr. Sabo, I'll second. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you for your patience. We had a lengthy fire department section tonight.
Yes, you did.
We're used to it.
Thanks, Chuck. That's going to take us to the road department. Mr. Iacino.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 1 is August's monthly report. If you have any questions? I just want to report the salt building is complete and they will start filling it tomorrow.
I think the important thing, I mean, one, it does look great. I mean, even if you're looking out the windows right behind us, but I mean, the capacity that's gonna be gained
Yes.
from that.
I saw it one time a year and fill it up, maybe probably more than adequate for what we need.
Okay. John, any questions for Joe on
Now,
monthly? Okay. Next item.
Item number 2 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize services and payment to South Bay Fence Company to relocate back fence and gate behind the road department building, not to exceed $3,150.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the purchase and payment of tires and supplies to Goodyear Commercial Tire, not to exceed $3,513.72.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And item number 4 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize services and payment to DRS Services for conveying the salt into the new salt building, the amount not to exceed $7,500.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And thank you, that's the end of the road report.
Thank you, Joe. Zoning, we'll turn that over to Tom.
Thank you, sir. First item on the agenda is the monthly report.
Are your plans for next month to have 2 pages of new residential construction? We continue to lead the way in Plain
That's
amongst
for
the
sure.
entire county, so. If anybody's got any other questions, feel free to see Tom afterwards.
Oh, just take note on his last page, they have started to add, well, along with the new residential, which is nice, the new commercial and commercial alterations.
Next item, nuisance abatements.
Item number 2 is a resolution to declare items A through C as nuisance abatements.
I will so move on zoning 2A through C.
I will second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And item number 3 is a resolution to authorize a refund in the amount not to exceed $350 for a Board of Zoning Appeals application that was withdrawn prior to the meeting being held. Refund payment to be taken out of account 13A05.
I'll so move.
Second.
Second,
I was waiting for the second.
Brooke beat you to the punch, John.
I was trying to wait.
Audio delays.
I was patiently waiting.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless.
Yes.
And that's all for zoning.
Takes us to Parks Department, Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you. Item number 1 is the monthly report.
Okay, next.
Thanks. Item number 2 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to seek reimbursement for Jeff McVeigh's salary and benefits retroactive to 8/17/20 through 12/31/20 through the COVID CARES Act, as his roles and responsibilities have been adjusted to directly comply with the COVID-19 guidelines due to the loss of the seasonal staff was one time.
So moved. Give a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, John. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless.
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 3 is a simple update. Speaking with Mr. Williams, thought it good to put on the agenda just to kind of update the public on where we're at with our competition. I did, per trustee Sabo, email the Stark County Health Department on all the measures we've taken, from signage, extra lines, to extra hand sanitizing and washing stations, to monitoring the fields and things of that nature. I received an affirmative back that we've done everything we can do and continue to do. We continue to monitor. We did have our first weekend of league games for the township that went exceedingly well. All told, we only had 2 people not want to comply with the guidelines, and eventually were coerced into doing so. So very pleased. We'll continue to update those as they come forward, and we'll continue to monitor and be vigilant as we go on with our competition.
That concludes Parks. Nothing from the law director. Takes us to communications. Turn this over to
Yeah, I'll do it, and then, this is an email or a communication to Chief Schellenberger, and it reads, Chief, thank you so much for stopping by with the fire department Bible certificate, and especially the letter you wrote. It meant a lot to David, Sharon, and me, Joanne, and
Yeah, that was, the station chief from Station 3, Avondale Station, for a long time, Tom Switchcable, passed away, and due to the COVID stuff, they couldn't have the fire department normal Stark County memorial. So we took the Bible they present to the family over to the house, and obviously wrote a little letter and stuff. And long-time station chief over there, and his family had multiple members on the fire department. So we wanted to, it's all this stuff this last few months. It's been tough to do any of those calling hours or any of that stuff. So it was the best we could do for the timing. And he was in the military, and actually he is going to be have a service up there at the Rittman, I believe is where it's at. So anyway, so he's going to have another service up there.
Awesome. Well, nice touch for trying to make it as personal as could be given the environment. There's nothing else on our communications. It brings us to the portion of the meeting, public speaks. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the Board of Trustees? Seeing none, that'll take us to concerns of trustees. I just asked, Stark County Township Association meeting reminder for, it's the 17th next week. It's going to be a Zoom. Our board's on a month-to-month basis continuing to assess. We're going to see if possibly in October still be able to do in a responsible and socially distanced environment something out at Lexington Township, but we're waiting for their feedback. So that's all I had there. Anything since the meeting agenda? Brooker, John? Okay. That closes concerns of trustees, concerns of the fiscal officer. Any?
No concerns.
It's going to take us to approval of the minutes for August 25th, 2020, and I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
Mrs. Harless.
Yes.
There is a need for executive session, so make a motion, be hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 6:30 p.m. from this regular meeting is authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose of consideration of 1C, dismissal of a public employer official, 1D, discipline of a public employer official, and 7A.
Second.
Second, John, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.